Hey, hey, our internet went out in the whole area. Thought I'd try to start a restart if anybody still wanted to have a chat. Who I got in here? Can you hear me? Is it coming through? Hello. Is my chat not working? Hmm. Don't know what to do about this. Can you give me a thumbs up? No. Oh, thumbs up there. Yeah, Rusty, our internet went out in the whole area. We had a major malfunction here. I don't know who'll jump back on the chat or not. I thought I'd at least try to get on here, and I went in there on my phone and tried to put in there the explanation real quick of what happened to why it abruptly quit. But I figured, like I said, I'd give it a shot and see if people were still wanting to come in and hang out. Because these are promptu things. There's no real structure here. I'm not intelligent enough to have a real structured live podcast. You think the rest of them can tell that I had to start a new stream? Yeah, that's what happened here. The internet's out completely, so I had to hotspot my phone. So I'm on my laptop, but we're dealing with the signal off my cell phone. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna go watch that later on. I hope it went well. To be honest with you, I'm kind of figuring it did, because Trump and Rogan know each other because of the AFC stuff or MMA stuff. Sorry. Thanks for coming back. I appreciate it. Uh, that was a major glitch. I, um, I know, Deborah, you said the internet went out. What company do you have for your internet where you're at? Hey, Ryan. First time in the chat. Oh, you're new. Yeah, we had a. I was chatting. We were live earlier, and the internet completely went out in the whole area. So Spectrum died on us. So I had to get hotspot my phone to get back up. You know, I hate to leave people hanging like that. Don't know what happened. I at least wanted to get back in here and explain what happened, and maybe we can continue on. Such flustered, I forgot where we were at on the conversation. But you'll have that with a guy my age. Yeah. Oh, yeah. South Carolina. Yeah, I can imagine. Oh, yeah. See, I didn't know what was going to be on a Friday night. I just, spur of the moment one night, I just said, I'm going to try to go live at 7 on Friday. And I did a little quick video to put that out there. And honestly, tonight was just like I wanted to feel the waters, I guess, if you want. If people were interested in hanging out with me, I'd, you know, if today's not a good day, I'd like to figure out a better day, a better time. And I just want to, I want to have a little, start a little community of conversation with me, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, somebody else mentioned that the other night on me. That's why 7 o'clock probably wasn't a good time. I probably should have started it earlier. If Friday's even a good time, because I'm a Salty Cracker fan too. But ain't nobody gonna come and hang out with me if they're a Salty Cracker fan. They're gonna be on his live. Just like, if you're a Tim Pool fan, you're gonna be on it. I'm nobody. I have a small following. I don't. I'm not trying to compete. I just want to figure if this is. I wanted to start a community of conversation. Uh, if you even want to listen to an old fart like me, but I wanted to pick a good time and a good day. I'm not trying to go up against anybody that's of any prominence of any kind. So I leave it up to people like you guys to help me figure that out. If it's even worth doing going forward, if it is, get a nice consensus of what's a good time and day. And I'm not. I don't know if I'm going to do it every week. Even it just depends on the enthusiasm behind it. You don't know. Uh, Stranger things have happened, and oh, okay, yeah, RSV, and that's showing the Trump rally, right? 6 a.m. Rusty, here's my thoughts. Since I'm retired, I can pick any time that people would enjoy to interact or whatever, because I don't want to just be up here talking. I may bring some subjects that I want to talk about, but I also like uh, hearing what you guys have to say more. Because we're in our own little bubble here in Springfield, so you get tired of what's happening here, hearing about it all the time. So I like, we all are in this major subject of the election, but uh, I like hearing what's interesting to people in different parts of the country or even the world, even because I was talking to somebody from Scotland. I couldn't sleep, so I did a practice live just to be doing it. Of course, I'm not smart enough to put it on private, but then what good is that? Nobody's going to pop in on private because they don't know I'm doing it when I was doing the test. And we had a pretty good conversation for a couple hours at 2:30 in the morning. So I thought there's people who work second, and there's people who are in a different time zone. If a live show or podcast, whatever you want to call these things, I don't know what you call these things, uh, at the wee hours of the morning, if that would even be interesting. And I mean, and I can actually do that uh, for the night owls and do a separate deal for people with the schedules that are close to similar to my time zone. So I'm always throwing it out there. I'm fishing for ideas all the time. And I ain't the smartest man in the world, but I consider myself smart enough to listen to smarter people than me. Trump landed. Cool. Well, if you're on the road at 6 a.m., is it like you listen to it or something? Is that what you're saying? Or because I know it's like a video type thing, but a lot of people listen to audio. They don't need to watch the screen. They can just listen to the conversation. And I'd like to be able to bring people in, you guys, if you ever want to like get on camera here on live and have a back and forth and talk, you know what I mean? Not just typing. Because I don't know about you, but when I'm a horrible typer. So when I'm in somebody else's live and I'm trying to type something, it seems like it takes me so long to get what I want to type out that they've already went on to another subject by the time I get it hit send. But that's just me. That's my handicaps. Well, I'm glad you guys start coming back in, man. We've been on here for, I don't even know what the time was when the internet went out, but I was on here for 3 hours the other night, and it's all good. I like it. Gives me something to do. I spend a lot of time healing up between days I work out in the garage. Uh, I'll go big gaps. Uh, I try to make them as short as possible because I'm trying to make more content because I feel like I need to. When so many people start subscribing to me, I feel like I'm obligated to give them something to look at. So I'm trying to do better at that with my other channel. But saying that, going live and having these conversations, it ain't hard to do physically for me to do. And I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning and can't go back to sleep till 11 o'clock the next night because I've got something aching on me and it won't let me sleep. And so I'm up weird hours and I can do these kind of functions almost any time of the day, any time of the week. So saying that, see, I ramble on. You see how I do. What do you guys think? Um, I mean, this would be a little cool thing to start doing because, a lot of people may not have somebody they can talk to on a regular basis. And I've actually said some family stuff here growing up that most people wouldn't talk to strangers about. And, you're not in the room with me, so it's easy to say when I'm just sitting here in front of my computer. It's just like a little uh, video diary kind of thing. And I don't know how much. I think Rusty, you probably heard most of it. Hey, Janice. Yeah, we lost all internet here completely. I'm hotspotting off my phone right now. Yeah, and more here. That's what I was saying. My goal here is to do like this little community of people who obviously we got something in common because you come in and listen to me, and I like hearing everybody else's stories too, and so like I said, I'm trying to work this out. I guess a good day, a good time. I guess it could be 6:30 in the morning, 6 a.m. Could be 2:30 at night. Like I said, I may do it twice. I may do one every week or two or three in the middle of the night, wee hours of the morning. I can do them in the AM. Uh, I just want to get a group that uh, is pretty consistent. I don't need 100 people in the chat room or watching a live. I'm happy with the group that's been showing up and we've been having these interactions. I'm good with that. It makes me feel like I'm having more of a personal conversation with you guys than trying to zip through the uh, chat room trying to catch up to everybody's chats. This way, it's at a flow that I can read and answer or interact with. Hump Day Live, yeah, Rusty. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think I'll get this figured out within the next week or two. Now, saying that, my partners on the other channel that I'm partnering up with, where we got that live podcast on Wednesdays. I try not to. I promised them that I wouldn't get too deep in the weeds with uh, the stuff that we want to talk about on the live show there because it's kind of, and I get it. It's kind of like bumping up against them. It's kind of like competing against myself. You know, I don't want to have a conversation here and then it's the same topic that I'm going to be talking about in a live show on Wednesday with them. But I kind of want to, like I just said a minute ago, it's kind of like a personal diary, video diary, but it's a live conversation. So it doesn't have to be about everything about what's in the news today. Because I've been telling y'all how I was raised. uh, some of y'all might find it colorful. Some of you might relate. I know a couple of y'all did. Yeah, you might be right there, more here. And we're in an odd time. You know, I don't know, but you guys, you're probably tired of the politics. People just want to get on with their lives and trust that the government's going to do the right thing. Right now, we can't trust it. So, yeah, yeah, on on another plane, so like at another level, which is cool. I like that. I never thought I would be a person that people would want to just tune in and talk with, or even just listen. I've said this many times. I'd probably get tired of saying it to you, or you guys probably get tired of hearing it. I'm always humbled by this newfound interest in what I got to say, or my experiences, or my opinions. So I always appreciate that. Even the ones that come in and troll. Uh, I don't mind the trolling, as long as you're not, if you ain't brave enough to, when you make some kind of off color comment to me, and you're not brave enough to uh, do a reply when I interact with you, then, you're just trolling. I ain't got time for you. But I'm just as happy with people who have a different opinion as mine, because we all can't think the same. And what fun would that be? It's I got a funny thing for you guys. Well, I don't know if you guys find it funny or not, but I was looking at my analytics, and it's funny because me having a car channel, they give you a percentage of male viewers, female viewers, and it's always like these extremely high numbers of male viewers, and it almost didn't even register any female viewers before all this political stuff started happening. But even getting beyond that, now the people are viewing my videos. It's almost 50-50, male and female, which I find fascinating, and I find it refreshing that so many ladies uh, like to come in and chat too. Because, yeah, I've heard a lot of times that people try to say that YouTube is the manosphere, that more men get on YouTube than anybody, and that may be true, but I don't find that to be my experience since I've been doing this new endeavor. It's been a large group of women, which I'm glad that you're here. I just hope I never say nothing to offend you, because I am an old mechanic and I like ladies, and I may say something, there's some story from the past that may I liked him up to that point, but no, I'm just kidding. I don't I don't have that kind of past. Citizens, because the news doesn't tell the truth. You're right, the news doesn't tell the truth. But I know you guys. I hear the same news you do, and we all do cipher through the bullcrap. And I think that's what people really are starving to hear, is somebody that gets out here in front of, because even though this is live and we got 7 people in here, as the weeks go on, people will keep doing this and they'll have their opinions, they'll put their comments in there. But I think people are starting to hear other people uh, feel and get the same feel, they're seeing the same thing, and I guess, I hope I'm saying this right, is they want to talk with or hear from somebody that's feeling the same experiences they're feeling when they hear all this stuff, and they just, somebody needs to say it out loud. I guess that's about the best way you can put it. Is not enough people tell the truth out loud with these what they really think about the news and politics and certain individuals in politics. So, if I'm that person, uh, I am. I don't mind talking about it. I ain't afraid of it. I don't shy away from it. And I know I don't always have the popular opinion. But then again, you say that most people they're like, um, we have the same mindset. They're like leaning the same direction. Uh, most of us in here, if not all right now, are Trump supporters. So, but it is good to hear somebody say it out loud. It's just, it is what it is. Since we got cut off from I can't even remember what we was talking about before, guys. Give me a refresher. Where we go from here tonight? Or are you just here to tell me to shut it off for the night? But I really would like y'all's opinion, even if it's a selfish opinion. Like, okay, if it whatever day is best for you, and whatever time it's best for you, if I get enough reply, then I'll take all those and put them together, and come up with some kind of a common denominator to go forward with some of this, and like how often too. A lot of people they like their stuff on a regular basis, and I know everybody likes it on a schedule. You like to rely on something, like I know at this time, this day, this is going to come on, just like TV program or whatever. So, got any ideas? Throw them in there. We had an ambulance pop up across the street here while I was trying to get my internet working again, and I thought then when I hotspotted it on my phone, my dog was going crazy because of the ambulance. I was afraid I was going to go live with my. I only have one puppy left. It's She's going to get lonely. I know what's coming. My girlfriend's going to want to. She don't want it right now because it's fresh in her mind of the puppy dying. Well, I say puppy. She was 13, but she's going to notice that our remaining puppies not got nobody to play with. So, yeah, Stephanie. But what somebody else was saying is like I'm bumping into like Salty Cracker, and I know like at 8 a.m. Of course, I've been on here longer than. I always think I'm going to be structured and let's do it for an hour, but I also have a hard time shutting it off when people are still engaging, and I don't, you know what I mean. So I don't care if I structure myself for it. I say an hour, but if it goes beyond that, like I said, the last live I had was 3 hours, and people were engaging all the way up to the point where I just had to be done with it. My butt was sore sitting in this chair that long. So Fridays is good, but like tonight I started at 7. Somebody earlier, like I said, I come up against Salty Cracker, and of course Tim Pool and them. I don't know. Obviously, you guys probably, if you're in here, you probably don't watch them very much. But try not to bump up against nobody that people are used to watching on a regular basis. Because I'm a Tim Pool fan. I watch him at 8 o'clock for most days. I usually don't get to him right at 8. I usually watch the recording of it later on. Uh, but 6:30 is 6:30 better than 7? I think any earlier than that's probably too early because people are getting home from work and trying to get settled down and maybe get something to eat. Yeah, but you know what? More here. I don't know too many people watch regular TV too much. I mean, we don't here at my house. I have a smart TV. I have apps on my TV. I don't watch regular TV at all. And then when you have apps, it don't matter when. Like I'm a Walking Dead fan, and I can watch Walking Dead because it streams like sometime in the wee hours of a Sunday morning, so I don't have to wait till 9 o'clock Sunday night to watch it. So when you got apps, you kind of are freed up to watch them when you want to watch them. So regular TV is almost a thing of the past. A bit later, you mean like later, like at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock there, Stephanie? Yeah, Ronnie, it's my gig, but I don't consider it my gig. When you guys are gracious enough to come in here, I consider it our gig. Um, like I said, I don't ever anticipate seeing a 100 or 200 or whatever, like some people, 1,000 even. I don't anticipate that. I can't wrap my mind around that anyway. But if if I'm talking to 15, 20 people, I think that's awesome in itself. So it's just not my gig. I want people to come in here to have time to sit down and relax and interact. Yeah, yeah, Ronnie the Interweb. See, I don't watch football, so I'm a car guy. I watch everything racing. What time zone you in, Linda? Yeah, but guys, I enjoy when you guys are in the chat. So I realize you can watch it later, but then you can't interact with it because I may say something, you may want to interject or correct me, and you're just like yelling at the screen, no, and then you can't correct me because you wasn't in chat. See, you got to be in chat, my friend. Oh, okay, so you're what, 3 hours, 3 hours or 2 hours? 3:27 a.m. See, that's why I was talking about. I was just mentioning, and uh, I couldn't sleep the other night, and YouTube finally gave me permission to go live on this channel. So I just clicked it on to see if it worked, and I spoke for a couple hours in the middle of the night, 2:30 to 2:30 in the morning, talking to people in Scotland and all over because y'all's time zone's way off from ours, so middle of the afternoon for you is the middle of the night for us, and vice versa. So that's why I was thinking about doing also a night owl podcast for those who want to get on at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't think too many people do that in the U.S. Do you guys know of anybody that does that? Trump trick or treat dropped its on the hot rod. Hello. Yeah, and see, Rusty, that's something like you. Going to come a point in time when the weather's going to be. I'm going to be in the house anyways. East Coast of California. Yeah, so you're 3 hours, Linda. So that's cool. See, yeah, it's crazy because I'm a nobody in a little crappy town of Springfield in the middle of Ohio. And, it fascinates me to speak to people, not only just across the nation, but across the pond and over the northern border. I mean, it's truly a unique and fascinating thing for me. I think I've said that before, and I think it'll take me a while to get over being impressed about that, because only in the internet world is this even possible. But you see how easy it is when the internet dies, communication goes away. You know, if this was a real uh, event, even the phone wouldn't be working, so I wouldn't be able to hotspot this right now. Think about that, guys. You ever think about ham radios? Yes, definitely. I'm pretty am nobody. I'm nobody special. Um, I'm not no great speaker. I haven't written any books. I don't have any programs. I'm not in office nowhere as far as politics. I mean, I don't even have a job. I have a silly little YouTube channel where I work on cars as much as I can. So yeah, I mean, I'm not claiming to be something I'm not. So I'm just a nobody. Trump rallies don't get packed. Ain't you seen the pictures? Breaker, breaker. Yeah, now that's the CB, but ham radios are different. You have to get you have to file for a call sign for the FCC for ham radios, but they work when nothing else does. Because if you've ever seen any uh, movies to where people are trying to contact each other around the world when something happens, even in sci-fi movies when they're fighting aliens, they're able to contact each other through ham radio. That's a It's a real deal. And I was thinking about getting one and starting to become a home base ham radio operator, so I can keep in communication when or if the shit hits the fan. I watch Rebel News. I like them guys in Canada. They were down here in Springfield. Matter of fact, they're the ones that come upon the fake sign that says "Do not eat the ducks." That was hilarious. Somebody was really funny over that one. That was a fake sign too. Bathtub ring. Oh, bathtub ring. That's cute. Oh man. Yeah, I started to see. I watch a lot of guys out of Canada, and I don't even know how Rebel News come across my feed. I think because I was watching the trucker strike, and I was trying to find stuff on that because I was curious about that, and they were reporting on that, and then I just subscribed to them. So every time they pop up and do something, I remember when somewhere up there they had a huge homeless problem, and it was like indigenous people or something was trying to take over the uh, local uh, city hall or something about some concrete park area or whatever. If you're in Canada, you probably know what I'm talking about if you watch Rebel News. But I like that guy with the hat. He's a good dude. And then I remember when they called some local mayor out uh, during COVID, uh, going in some facility that they opened up strictly for him and his buddies, and they almost got arrested. As a matter of fact, I think did get arrested one day. Uh, oh, yeah, I can. I'm pretty good at filling the blanks then. Gosh, I got 10 of y'all back in me. That's good. Yeah, you guys are just as cool as anybody. I, everybody calls me a real person or whatever because the way I come across, but the people who like hanging out with me, to me, is about as real people as you can get. You know, it's almost like people you can count on. You know what I mean? There's so few people in the world anymore you can count on. Yeah. Well, Linda, I like my foul language. I know it's a bird joke. So, what we got here is, and I honestly can't remember where I was at before, guys, when the internet went out. Can anybody refresh me on what I was? I know I was off on a tangent of some kind. I can't remember what story I was telling. Because I know I have uh, quite a few stories in my life. I've had an interesting life for somebody that's in my position in life, I guess. Um, I mean, my family is kind of a colorful family too. I come from a family of bootleggers, and that's a serious deal. And they're far much worse, some of them. Um, but I was never on the other part of it where I guess I have a few criminals in my family. Um, I can never go down that path. There was never. You ever grow up? I always wondered how a criminal could do something and how, like, I couldn't even, like, you know how as a kid you shoplift a pack of gum or whatever. You know, I was not even able to do that. I would get this nauseous feeling in my gut because I knew it was wrong. And it's not because somebody told me it's wrong. I mean, I had a physical reaction to it that I just couldn't do it. It just, and you know, and I lived in a bad area and there's a lot of crime, and I could never be a part of it because I could never physically bring myself to do stuff like that, and I never could understand how a person why they don't feel like I do. What what keeps them from not feeling bad doing something wrong? And I always say there's a chemical makeup got to be in somebody's body. They're either too much of or lack of that makes them feel no remorse, or in my opinion, or in my situation, I guess, uh, I have so much remorse I couldn't even do it in the first place, let alone have remorse after I did it. Uh, so, you know, just another little tidbit of me. Are you doing that still? What are we talking about? What you mean there, more here? Little product merch that's from a car channel. I will be selling these on my car channel. Oh, bootlegging. Uh, no, bootlegging's kind of a thing of the past. That was something done, you know, back in the generation of my. Uh, well, matter of fact, the youngest person that actually did the bootlegging was an uncle of mine. He passed away a couple years back, but it was like my grandparents and them. They bootlegged because it's Dry County down in Kentucky where they're from, and but we're talking bootlegging was serious down there. We're talking gunfights, all kinds of stuff to control your territory. Who's got the best personalities? I must miss something when I'm trying to read these. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, uh, I decided to try. I'm not going to try to make any money off the shirts or nothing, but um, these I've had. This is actually was made personally for me. I never made this. I've had this for a couple years now, but somebody made a comment about it that they wouldn't mind having one. But where this is black, we're making new ones where this is going to be silver instead of black. With the this is going to be the color of my '56 Chevy. This is purple haze metal flake. Now my paint job on my Chevy is going to have heavier metal flake because I'm a old lowride kind of dude. I like the Mexicano Latino lowrides, the hydraulic gear with the flakes that are about a quarter size. So saying that, that's what eventually my '56 is going to be painted. Joke on you. Oh, sorry. Joke on you. All right. We're not allowed to have chickens in the city limits here, which kind of bummed me out because I used to have chickens all the time. Because like I said, I've owned a few homes. I probably didn't get through all that. I bought my first house when I was 23, and then I fixed it up and raised my kids while I was doing it, and then I would buy another house and then flip that one, and then I just kept upgrading in homes uh, to where, and then when I got hurt and couldn't work no more, I had 5 homes at the time. Uh, from the time it took to where I could get my disability approved, because I got a small retirement because I retired early, so it's not a large amount. But I had to sell my homes off to survive while I was waiting on my disability to be approved because it's hard to get approved. And I get it. Not everybody should be on disability unless they absolutely really need it. So I get why it takes, but it took a long time, even after all my medical stuff was done and recorded. And it's just like they force you to have, no matter how good you crossed your T's and dotted your I's, 99% of the time, you're going to have to get a lawyer and you're going to have to go to court and get what you need to get. Let's see. Yes, Stephanie, I hope so because I'm painting. In case everybody didn't know, I do painting body and sheet metal work. Yeah, that's the name of the paint. It's called Purple Haze. Um, I bought the first quart of it a while back. Once I get the floor pan in my car, then I'm gonna start painting all the trim and the dashboard and the stuff inside before I'm gonna get all that painted and everything before I do put the new wiring harness in it. But I'm doing the dash in this color, and but it'll be flat. It won't be. I won't have clear. Get out flat clear over it. I know it's probably getting too technical. People don't care about car stuff, but you don't want an old metal dash to be too shiny because when the sun comes in and that sun glares off that nice, pretty, shiny, slick paint job on that metal dash, you cannot see nothing out the window. So you have to do the dash in flat. It's a flat color, so you have no reflection. So just a little car knowledge here. Nope, nope. Chickens are not allowed in city limits. Not allowed to have rabbits either. Found that out the wrong way. I thought that was the dumbest rule. And you couldn't even see our rabbit pen. That was the funny thing about it. Um, they were because I have an alley behind my house, and they were inspecting something, and we had the rabbit. It's a pretty good sized rabbit cage. It really is pretty good size, but it was up next to the house and far far away from anybody that it wouldn't even disturb anything. And I don't know what the hell is wrong with having rabbits, but you're not allowed to raise rabbits you're allowed to have like one or something in a cage in your house, but uh, my girlfriend's daughter was raising them and selling them, teaching her how to make a little money as a kid, teenager. And we no longer do that because the government tries their best to keep you from making a dollar. Good night, Rowdy. Yeah, I'm glad you came back in. I just felt like I had to come back in to explain what happened to the other feed. Yeah, Linda, I know. That's what I'm saying. We have the dumbest rules. And, chickens, I kind of get it to a point because chickens have a smell if you have them close to somebody else's property, a house, or whatever. But what would be wrong with having, like 4 or 5 chickens? And, you know, if anything, to teach a city kid how to raise livestock a little bit, maybe make them self reliant as they got older. It's almost like they don't want you to know these things. It's a part of life that's going away. But like most people, and I've seen these dumb interviews. I know y'all probably have too, where they'll talk to some young college kid that's like on spring break down in Florida, and they'll talk about something like chickens, and they'll say, "Well, you go to the grocery store to get chickens. Well, where do chickens come from? At the grocery store." I know, but where's the grocery store get them? From a grocery store supplier. I mean, they're just that stupid. They don't know about chickens being raised and where. I kid you not. I seen a girl even say that eggs come from bunnies. It makes me fear for the generation that's out there now. Saying that, Gen Alpha, the ones that are in junior high and high school, they're pretty much they're. They said it's the most conservative generation in a long time. Hmm. Yeah, supermarket. Yeah, yeah, eventually from the supermarket. Yeah, I know, Rusty. It's a sad thing. You know, I made sure, and I grew up in the city, so I kind of wanted my kids growing up to. I had some opportunities where I purchased property out in the country, and so while I was working on that house, the next one to flip, we decided to stay there for a while. I got my kids a horse. We had goats. We had chickens. We had pigs. I wanted them to have, and I had to learn as I went too because I was raised in the city. But I also spent a lot of time down south in the summertime, so I wasn't like totally ignorant of the livestock thing. Uh, but it was an experience. Now all my kids have that knowledge that they can be self reliant out in the country somewhere if they wanted to live out in the country. They would know what they're getting into. You got hook out yourself, fools. I tell you, there's used to back in the day. We used to go in with neighbors, and you know, you find somebody like my one neighbor had a sister and a son-in-law or brother-in-law. Sorry, they lived out in the country and they raised cows and pigs and stuff. And I used to go in half with my neighbor, and we'd take them to slaughter, and I'd save a ton of money because you try to save all the money you can raising 4 kids. And but you don't hardly hear about that anymore either. People going in and because usually a farmer will raise them for a certain price, and then you go in and you split the slaughter fees, and then you have a buttload of meat. So you're telling me your husband's in charge? You don't hardly hear that anymore. Yeah, Rusty. The Amish. We have an Amish community, probably about 30, 30 or 40 miles from here, and sometimes we go up there. They got an Amish restaurant. Oh my God, the food is awesome. But they also have like an Amish bakery. They sell donuts and stuff like that. I tell you what, I've never ate a better donut than what come from the Amish community up there. And they live a good, they live a hard life, but they live a good life. But even they are. I've seen where the Amish people were being interviewed over in Pennsylvania, and they were asked if they were voting for the presidential election, and they all said yeah. And they asked them who they're voting for, and they said, "Well, Trump." Like, I've never heard Amish people talk about being in the voting process, but that's pretty wild. Yeah, Janice, I tell you, it's the more you hear about the stuff they put in our food, all the plastics and the hormones and stuff like that, and you know, uh, let's see, I'm 59. I'm sure some of you guys are in here around my age. When I was a little kid, I've always been big. I was in elementary school. I was the fat kid, the only fat kid. Um, but now, back in the 90s, they said obesity going into the early 2000s was around 30% now. That was then. Now they're saying it's close to 40% obesity problem amongst children. It has to be the food. You know what I mean? It just has to be. And you got a rise in autism. You got kids on all kinds of drugs. They got to quit doing that too. You got a kid that's a little hyperactive, and they want to throw them on Ritalin or something instead of just let them go out and play. Back in the day when I was growing up, you get up if it's a weekend, you're not in school. Get out of the house and go play. Don't come back till it's time for dinner. Today they wake up, slide over into the chair in front of their computer, or in some cases a TV, and that's where they sit for hours. Well, Rusty, you seem like a young 63. I'm just saying that. More here, 59. 59 is a good age, although I'm 59 going on 80. Um, I feel, I tell you, I feel a little bit, my body, we're not even talking about the body issues, physical stuff, but mentally, it seems like it's a good age for uh, not being, out of control emotionally. And, you seem like this, at least me, seems like I sit down and think through things a little bit clearer. I wish I had this mindset 30 years ago. Then I probably would have made all the right decisions, all the right investments, and stayed out of all the drama that young people get into, and go way beyond the stage in life I was in. But I didn't. So now it's me. Yeah, Janet RFK's, but I say this: Trump's got the dream team. I mean, look at the group of people who are going to be working in his administration. I mean, he didn't, and even though she went to Republican, she wasn't a Republican until a week this week. I mean, Trump don't care what your political affiliation is. Are you the person for the job? That's what he cares about. That's what we all should care about. Is no DE, what is the DEI hire, uh, just the right person for the job. And to me, RFK, he's a good dude. Now he's got, of course, he is left leaning in some cases, but you know what? He's common sense, and I believe he really, from his heart, he wants to correct our silly little food pyramid thing that we have going on in this country, and making these companies. And you know what? It may cost a little bit more too to eat, guys. Even though, and I say that we can't count today's prices because if Trump gets in there and drops the energy prices down, like he said, slowly but surely everything else will come down because we all know that it all starts with energy, fuel. It costs more to get everything across the country to the stores and to the factories, to the suppliers. Once the energy comes down, everything else will follow. Well, when that happens, then we would have a little bit better ability to pay a little bit more for the food at that point, uh, to have healthier choices to eat. And it may not make a difference for like a guy my age. It may be too late, although it may help me, as my later years get on. But for these younger people, it should be a thing. Deborah, I'd have never noted. You don't look it. Yeah, Linda. Yeah, I can contest to the pain thing. Um, I have. I'll not get into everything. Let's just say it's hard for me to move, hard for me to walk. Uh, I have 9 different prescriptions. I take 21 pills a day, and I wish I could not take none of them. But I've tried going without some of them some days, and if I quit taking my blood pressure medicine, I start getting my blood pressure shoots up. If I stop taking my pain medicine, and then everything starts hurting 5 times worse than it did before I stopped taking it. You know, I got muscle pills I take because I have muscle spasms. If I don't take that, then I can't hold a pen to write with. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. It's like it's like damned if you do and damned if you don't. You don't want to take it, but if you don't take it, maybe food will be the new medicine if it gets done correctly. Maybe that will be a life changer or a game changer. Me too, Janice. I'd rather pay more because medical bills cost a whole lot more than a little bit of good food. Well, I think Trump will probably get the gas price. You're talking about like gas for your car. Uh, you know, Natural gas and all that stuff will come down too, because there's certain things that the current government is doing that's making that price shoot up. And I'm all for nuclear power too, as far as electricity, getting power from nuclear for electricity. Um, but gas, it depends on where you live on your gas prices, because it seems like even if you had cheaper gas prices in California, they're going to think it's some kind of tax to add on to it to get it right back up. So, I don't know what the fix is that to what state you're in. Like I'm in Ohio. When Trump was voted out, gas here was like right around. It was floating between like the 190s, the 212, 215 a gallon. Can you imagine paying 215 a gallon again? Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I was just reading that the China buying up the land. I think they need to pass something in Congress that foreign countries, would even companies, will have to go through a process to get permission to do anything as far as owning any piece of land here, no matter what. I don't know how that would play out, but it seems like that would be a doable thing. Yeah, they're buying land around the military bases, but also it's a little bit deeper than that. We were just saying on our podcast, the asshole's opinion. Um, Everywhere that there's this mass migration of people coming in, it's usually like we have Wright Patterson Air Force Base, 20 minutes away. All these places that have an influx of undocumented newcomers are right around the vicinity of some kind of military installation of some kind. Uh, there may be something to that. There may not be something to that, but you know, the possibility is that there more is a chance of it being that way or not. Yeah, Linda, I can't skip a day. I know what you're saying, and I try. Uh, Well, I guess on purpose I skip days, but I get the feeling so miserable that you kind of like give up and say, why did I put myself through this? The 4.75 a gallon. Whew. Now, see, in Ohio, our gases are weird. Our gas prices, I guess we're like right in the middle as far as prices here. And I hear California's gas prices, and then I think they just are adding another tax to you guys out there for who's on here in California. I mean, they tax you guys to death, and do you really see anything for the tax that you're paying here? And now it's against the law to ask for an ID to vote. I mean, who would vote that asshole in there and keep voting him in there to make stupid decisions like that, and you'd be all right with it? Ronnie, in case y'all didn't notice, as closer we get into the election day, because people have a short memory span. Um, I don't know if you remember, uh, well, and they may still be. I don't know if they're still doing it. They may be. How Biden was getting the gas prices down was he was dipping into our reserves, and he was also selling off some of our reserves to, I believe, China, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a false flag kind of thing. It's it's like right now they're talking about they're producing more oil than ever. It's a temporary thing. They just recently started doing that so that the people would forget about the last 3.5, 4 years of all the stifling and crushing price that we've had to pay for everything. They kind of think, okay, well, we'll give them the last 6 months of cheap gas, and they'll forget about everything before that, and they'll vote for us because, oh, it ain't so bad right now. Look what gas prices is. You know as well as I do, it's a false flag. News coming. News, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm talking about news. News gone. Can you? how does he keep getting voted in? Is there that many people who are just, I guess, the way I understand it, and I'm not talking about the rural areas, but like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I've never been to California. In the big areas like LA or whatever, you're either really rich or you're really poor. There's very few in between. So that means that the really rich probably controls everything there. But still, numbers count. I can't imagine everybody who's at the bottom of the income scale there feels good about voting in somebody like that. And it just seems unreal to me that there's so many people there willing to keep voting that crap in. Then you had so many of them leave California and go to Texas, and they're trying to muck up Texas because they brought their voting habits with them. But I don't like to chop up other states too bad. Give my opinion on them because that's not my state. That's one good thing about the United States. Uh, if you don't like the state you live in, even though it's a kind of a hardship to move, you still have an opportunity to move to another state and have a completely different way of life. Electric cars is not the thing. Uh, Electric cars to me is just a vanity project until later on down the road, if they can figure out how to make such a non-toxic battery instead of the very toxic batteries that it takes to run an electric car, and the short distance that it can go compared to how long it takes to charge up to get somewhere. Like I would, if I had an electric car to drive around town here, I'd be cool. I wouldn't mind driving one at all. I'm not against them, but I couldn't take a long trip in one. So, and this is how bad they spend their money. I'm getting ready to get on another tangent here. What's his name? Buttigieg, whatever you call him, or transportation guy, spent $9 billion to put in 8 charging systems across the country. That's what happens to all our money. Trump could have probably made 90 of those for less than that. They're retarded. As educated as they all supposed to be, because most of them are lawyers or something, whatever. I don't. You either got to be somebody, a lawyer of some kind. You don't hardly ever. You see some doctors get into politics, but it's usually lawyers. So they automatically start out with a scummy way of thinking, and I apologize if there's any lawyers in here, but you kind of know what I'm talking about. You do have a large middle class. Doesn't it hurt to live there? And as far as being in the middle class, isn't that kind of crushing on the wallet? Because middle class means you're not rich. It don't mean you're poor. You can own a house and you probably have 2 cars and 2.1 kids or whatever the hell that ratio is. And but stuff like the gas prices has to affect the middle class family there. Yeah, but I remember back because as a car guy, uh, California was the place to go back in the day if you were really into cars, because that was the scene where all your innovative cars were being built. You know, all your aftermarket hot rod stuff and all that stuff was out there. But that's kind of gone away now. Now it's all on the East Coast, and it's all because of the politics there. Yeah, Rusty, you know what? There's a lot of things that, matter of fact, I'll give you an example. There was a guy right here in Ohio that developed a carburetor that increased the fuel mileage so good that the government bought his patent, and it's never been produced. Why would the government buy the patent, and then, especially when the government should be involved in something like that, when it could have been bought by one of the car manufacturers and produced, and they could produce a car that had better fuel mileage than any other car on the road, but yet the government buys the patent and it disappears. Yeah, they kind of. Did you see where they kind of dissed Elon in that movie, Leave the World Behind, where they made all the cars all travel together down the same highway to the same location just to crash at the end of it because they were all being controlled. That was kind of a diss to Elon, I think. I've never seen an electric zero turn mower. 15 minutes of running, 3 hours of charging. See, that's what I'm saying there, Deborah. It's the technology's not there. It's just not. Hi, Triple J. Yeah, and you might be right there, Ronnie. But like I said, there was a reason why I know about that carburetor is because there was a guy here. Excuse me. Uh, he lived just south of Columbus, I do believe, and so it was a story here for a little bit. Where I'm talking like back in the '80s, and you know, because the oil companies, well, why didn't they buy the patent? But the government bought the patent because they said that because of what it did as it burned gas, that it had to run through some kind of, I don't know, department of something, and but it never got approved to be resold to anybody. It just makes no sense why the government would buy somebody's patent like that. I can understand it, like if BP or somebody bought the damn patent to the carburetor and then didn't want to see the light of day. But your car companies would not be, you know what I mean? They would want to buy the patent because then they would have the edge on everybody else in the car manufacturing. The oil companies probably wouldn't, but the car companies would like that. But saying that, I mean, our modern day electronics and fuel injections, these cars get pretty decent fuel mileage, especially since they all run so many high speed transmissions. I mean, back in the day, it used to be like a 2 speed automatic. Then it was a big deal when it was a 3 speed automatic. Then it was a big deal when it was a 3 speed with an overdrive automatic. And now you got 5 and 6 speed automatics. It's kind of crazy, but that's pretty much what helps get the high fuel mileage anymore, along with fuel injection. I know it's probably more car crap than people want to hear. All right, Linda. Hey, glad you stopped by. Man, that's pretty cool. So I have a consensus of the ones that are still here. Fridays is still a good thing. Friday maybe at 6:30 or at 9, or rather have it later or earlier. In case you wonder why this shakes around a little bit, guys, this is on a card table. I'm in my bedroom. I don't have. As a matter of fact, I am building a little place on my back porch because I have an enclosed back porch, and it's been dedicated to a paint booth where I paint motorcycle parts, motorcycle tins, gas tanks, all that stuff for people. But now I can do that at my other garage because I didn't have access to that before because I was my daughter, my son-in-law was used to live in that house, and they had possession of the whole place. And then my granddaughter, they moved out, they bought another house, and then my granddaughter wanted to move in, so I took control of that garage. So, anyways, I don't know, nobody needs to hear that. So I'm gonna turn my paint booth back here on my back porch into a little office to set all this stuff up permanently. Yeah, I was just wondering about that, Ronnie, because like I said, some people were saying 6:30 because I'd walk up against it. But see, saying that, uh, when we get started on these things, depending on how uh, engaging the conversation is, nobody knows about how long it's going to last. At least I don't, because I don't really have a structure with this deal. Um, so I was just curious. I'm always open for suggestions because I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just fumbling through this. So, okay, 6:30. Okay. Yeah, Janice, and I've heard that. That's what that seems to be uh, the most common time. People have been saying 6:30 is better than 7. So I think if you guys are willing to come back, uh, I'll set this up to do again next week at 6:30 on Friday night. They seem to be pretty good at generating conversation. Well, Frank, it's because I like to talk and figure that. And I don't know. It just takes a little bit of a subject from somebody for me to get off on my, I call them tangents. It could be rambling, whatever you want to call it, about my point of view on whatever. I can take a 30-second or a 10-second comment and turn it into 30 minutes. Do people keep to themselves in your community, or are they friendly? Jason, they seem to. What everybody else can tell you is pretty engaging. This chat room stays engaging. Yeah, I wish I could cook there, Stephanie. I've never really. I mean, I can make toast, but my girlfriend babysits on Friday nights. That's kind of why I picked this Friday night because I'm here by myself. She's off babysitting. Um, she's the cook of the house, and I am very poor at it. So seeing how she's gone because she babysits overnight for them because the parents of the children are truck drivers and they go out, they don't get it home till real late on Fridays. So anyways, long story short, I'm usually here Fridays evenings, by myself. So saying that, I'll have the scrumptious, delicious meal of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches tonight. Jason, community here, right here. Don't have to be in Ohio, my friend. I'm talking about this community. Are you asking about my community? Is that what you? I'm, in case I'm reading you wrong. If you're asking about my community here in Springfield or my community here at this live chat. Yes, yes. On which part, sir? Springfield. Oh, okay. Well, um, Yeah, I talked about that. Of course, the other chat died because the internet's dead here. Um, it's it's gotten no better, and in some cases, it's gotten worse. And I've spoke on this a couple of times. Although I can barely run a camera, and I don't use my phone at all because I can't get my phone to download into my laptop to splice together any kind of video off my phone. So my phone is useless because people say record with your phone. I don't know how to. It won't. It won't. My computer won't read with the phone. There's some kind of special deal you got to do, and somebody ain't showed me yet. Some kind of program or app to get the Apple phone to communicate with the HP. But anyways, uh, because in some cases uh, it's worse for some of the people that live here, and some of the people I'm talking about is the ones y'all seen went viral, trying to uh, bring their concerns to our local commission meetings, and they've been called all kinds of names, and and it's like I kind of want to clear Trump's name because the mainstream news calls him a liar on the accusations that he said. But I know from other situations that he's not lying for 90% of this. He kind of exaggerated a little bit about the dog thing, but the cat thing is actually a thing. But there's no video of it. But I do have information coming of people who reported it, city workers who reported it to their bosses, in which our local mayor and them and the city manager said that they've never heard nobody had reported that stuff to them, and they lied because they already knew. So they had employees that had already told them about what they had found at these houses where they'd been. And anyways, I want to kind of clear some of the people's names around here that's been called all kinds of nasty names just for speaking out. And so, anyways, long story short, I'm going to try my best to put together a documentary of the real truth, uh, what the city mayor and all them knew, when they knew it, and how they kind of hung our president to be out to dry. Uh, so, if I can, I'm writing. I just talked to my first person yesterday. I'm getting together some permission to some people going. He's helped me get some people's permission to interview them, and I'm even going to ask the mayor and them for if they want to, give me a statement on camera and let me interview them. Oh, really? Just now? Man, what a delay! That's crazy, there, Rusty. I don't know how to fix that. I, and I don't know if there's a big conspiracy theory here about that, Rusty, but something tells me that always it depends on the content you're talking about to how well the algorithms or the YouTube notifications and all that stuff works. I mean, I could be just barking up the wrong tree, but it seems kind of weird. So, anyway, getting back to that, I'm going to try my best as a non-camera, and if you watch my car videos, I'm not very good at editing videos together. But I'm gonna try my best, and I'm the help of a friend of mine who's going to help me place in some documents and stuff like that into the film, so you can see, not just hear me or talk to the people that I'm going to be interviewing, but we'll be able to throw some stuff up on in the video, in the documentary. Yeah. So, which is something I'm not capable of doing by myself. So, anyways, with the help of some pretty smart people with the computer stuff, that will be something. Hopefully, it'll probably be about an hour and a half long, and it'll be. I'm working on the title, but I think it'll be called something like Springfield, Ohio: The Real Truth, something like that. I'm still working on it. I'm not very good at this kind of thing. Yeah, Russ, the mainstream news has moved on. They still want to mention that the unfounded accusations that Trump and J.D. Vance made about our town, but there's nobody here to do follow up. And even the people that have been interviewed, that's been in those, had their 3 minutes in all their videos at the town hall meeting that went viral, nobody's ever asked them these questions. You know what I mean? So the people that have the real inside scoop on who reported it and when, and that they're just not some redneck idiot uh, local citizen. It's actually some city employees that have reported this to their bosses and been told not to say nothing. And that's a fact. They've been told not to say nothing, or they'd lose their jobs. So I'd kind of like to clear the air and clear Trump's name, if anything, just to give the big middle finger to national news networks, mainstream news, fake news. Yeah, Ronnie, I'm gonna start on it. I'm probably gonna make my first interview or do my first interview. Um, everybody that's involved in this is going to help. They're all got kids. They're getting through this week with Halloween and all that stuff. So I'll start recording for the film Tuesday. So Tuesday I will be doing my first interview on camera, but obviously you won't see it till I put the video together as a short documentary. Uh, you have a lot of faith in me there, Stephanie. Like I said, I have never ever, I've never even acted, let alone put it. Not that I'm going to be acting in this, but put together a structured type movie, even though it's a documentary. You're just going to be doing A, B, C, D, and all that stuff, and then blend it together to make the story. Um, but hopefully, it will be good enough that it will get enough attention that enough America will see it. And I ain't saying all of them, because the national, networks will probably never even want to view it or air it. So it'll probably be shared amongst the internet if it's good enough to watch. So, but hopefully that'll be enough to clear Trump and JD Vance's name. Yeah, Steph, I don't know how to be nothing else but myself. Of course, like I said, it's not acting. You won't even see me in the video. I'm going to be asking the questions. Everybody else will be in front of the camera. And then I got a friend that's going to help me produce it to put it together. That's going to do the voiceover and uh, kind of explaining like the documentation that I may have in the video. The voiceover will be done by him to explain what we have, when it was, you know, uh, showed to the people who claim they never saw it, and just trying to do my best to put it together to make something worth watching. Springfield Saturday Night Live. Yeah, hey, that's a good title. I may steal that, Deborah, if you don't mind. Springfield Saturday Night Live. See, that's the thing, Frank. Uh, there is real evidence. That's what sucks about this whole deal is there is actually real evidence of people who work for the city reporting this stuff that they have found in these properties. So it ain't just somebody said, yeah, my neighbors said so, and they seen somebody or they talked to somebody that's seen this or whatever. And it ain't like that. It's going to be firsthand affidavits, because some of them will not. They don't want to be on camera. They have already been told that, but they are willing to uh, show documented times of when they reported it in the actual report. Well, that's what kind of what's going to have to happen there, Ronnie. Is that's why I say it'll, if it's good enough to watch and people, you know, take it at face value, and it is going to be a, you know, a fact based documentary. That the only way it's going to be seen is it's going to have to be shared amongst. It's going to have to start here. I'm actually going to, because I partner in with the guys at the Assholes Opinion. The first time it's going to be viewed, it's going to be on that channel because I'm partnered up with them guys, and I'm going to start doing. I've talked to them, and like they kind of like, and I get it. I think I mentioned this earlier in the other deal before it went out. If I kind of go up against the narrative of, it's kind of like I'm in competition with myself here. I have this channel which I started before I knew I was going to be hooked up with them guys, but I kind of don't want this channel to die down either because this is kind of like my personal therapy. But when I get off on my political rants in the middle of the night, when I just got to say something that I'm thinking about, and I sit down in front of my camera and I start talking and I make a video of it, I'm going to uh, put those videos on that channel. And so I've already talked to them, they got, because it was their channel first. I just started being a guest. Now I'm actually going to be part of the channel. So I'm going to be able to post things, upload them just like they can at their end. I'm going to be able, they're giving me the okay to, if I have a thought I want to get out, they trust what I say won't, endanger their brand. Basically, I don't know if endanger is the right word, but you know what I'm saying. I don't want to, you know, stain the product that they're trying to put out if by saying something off color or whatever. They trust me enough now that they've seen enough of my videos that that's not my style. So going forward, if I just, and I'm not there yet because I don't have that access on that channel yet, but I'm getting it. But for now, I'm good. If I feel like I'm going to post something in the middle of the night, I'm going to make a video. It's still going to get uploaded on this channel, and I still want to go live on this channel. But they also, uh, we were talking to offer me, like, if I want to go live and do my own thing, not just as the group on Wednesday afternoons with them. If I want to pick a day and have my own little live thing like I'm doing now, I'm going to be able to do on that channel too. But for now, for all intents and purposes, going forward, it's going to be on this channel for now. That was a long-winded explanation, wasn't it? All right, night, Rusty. Sorry, I probably put you to sleep going through that explanation. Stephanie, you have way too much faith in me, dear. You are always positive. I appreciate that. Yeah, Rusty, I hope to see you next Friday if you're still on here. We'll be back 6:30 next Friday. We'll be back on. Nope. Oh, too early for you. Sorry. Well, you never know. Is that a yes? You're going to be here, or is it's too early for you? Because the way we get talking here, even if that's too early for you, we may still be going by the time you get up, moving around, and ready to roll, and listening to it or whatever. Yeah, half full. That is true. Yeah, I hope to. Let's see if I can explain this. I kind of, I kind of go slow on all this stuff, and I don't, you know, um, I'm wanting. I kind of enjoy this so much. It's kind of addictive, if you know what I mean. And I don't mean clicks or nothing like that, but just the interaction with people, and I call it a community. It's like my car community. You know, I got a couple hundred people that are kind of, you know, really consistent watch and comment and interact with me. So to me, it's my little community. And I kind of like, when I first went live, and I kind of enjoyed that because I actually got to talk, feedback. It's addicting to me. And I don't, I want to keep it going, and I want to improve, and I want to make it better. And I want to uh, give what's a good word I'm looking for? My mind's a blank. Lack of a better word, give you something worth coming to watch and listen to. So, but I don't want to sound like, I don't want to sound all. I'm not one to be cocky because I don't even know if I can improve or make it better to where more people want to come and interact. But I'm going to try, and I want it to be more and better and more engaging, and hopefully going forward. Seems like every time I do this, it seems like it just kind of just feels a little bit more comfortable. May not be a little bit more better for you guys to watch, but I feel a little bit more comfortable doing it. So, but that's my theory. I have a few of them. Did you guys fall asleep on me? There we go. One person at a time. Absolutely. Yeah, and I said before, I'm not looking to have a buttload of people, uh, but it is nice to have, a consistent audience, a group of people, and especially the ones that engage, like you guys, how you engage in the chat room. Um, you know, that's my favorite thing of all so far between this whole thing. I mean, I do make my videos, and sometimes they'll make sense, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're short, sometimes they're a little bit too long. But to me, this is my favorite thing out of all is the live chat. So I want to keep trying to do it until nobody wants to watch no more. But I'd like to, as we go along, for those of you all who stay with me, that continue to engage in chat and all that, uh, I like to get you up on camera and actually have a verbal conversation. Maybe we can have, pick a subject and talk about it. And, because I don't know how many people you could throw up here, but I've seen uh, at least six, I think I've seen before, people up on the screen. So, anybody's ever interested in that, let me know. And I don't know how to do it today, but uh, I got some people that are on Rumble, and that's something you guys probably don't know because I don't think I've hardly mentioned the Rumble thing. Uh, I I'm involved in a podcast on Rumble. I'm on there like every other Saturday. Um, it started out as an interview, and then they decided they liked me enough, I guess, that they wanted me to come back and be a reoccurring person to engage with whatever topic that they're going to be talking about that Saturday night, and obviously to give my opinion. So, and the name of that show is called Killer Carl. and they're trying to convince me into starting my own with my daughter. Y'all have never met my daughter yet, and she's heavy into politics. She has to stay on Rumble because she cannot stay on YouTube because she would get me kicked off if she was on my channel because she gets deep into the weeds of the politic thing. But she does well on Rumble. So uh, after my first interview I did on that show, and they said, "Well, we want you to come back again," and I said, "Well, I will if you let my daughter come and be a part of it too, because she has a 3-ring binder notebook. It's thick, and she has just about every kind of document that somebody wants to talk about, what the government's doing, not doing. And she highlights things like if she wants to talk about something, she'll have a talking point. And she's very organized in that way, which I am not. But when me and my daughter are on the same show, I hardly have to say anything. She's in there. I'm just like the comedic relief. When she takes the breath, I'll jump in there and say something. Then when she gets her breath back in, she takes off, and I just sit back and relax. It's easy for me. But anyways, um, saying that, not that I have enough irons in the fire already, um, that the host of that show uh, is trying to get me and my daughter to create a Rumble podcast, and that news network, the John Fredericks News Network, will promote the channel to get a following for a live podcast on Rumble with me and my daughter. So we're working on that. And like I said, it's more my daughter than me because I told her, I said, I got enough going on. But I mean, you know, but they said that I should be part of it because that's why we were there in the first place because of me. Yeah, my daughter is a trip. Stephanie, uh, you can't ask for a better out uh, outcome than to have your kid be exactly like you. Now she's a little bit more hyperactive than me, but she always has been. But she is she's right leaning just like I am. She's further right actually, because where I um, taper my responses or how I explain stuff or whatever, she gets down into the weeds and don't give a shit whether you like how she says it or not. So she constantly gets thrown in TikTok jail. I can just tell you that. And like I said, I she would be all right on here, but I would have to keep her under control because she would get me. She'd get my a strike against me on YouTube. Yeah, I tell you what, Stephanie. I'm. I think we're on together this Saturday night. It's Saturday night at 7:30 uh, on Rumble, and it's called Killer Carl, and it's through the John Fredericks News Network. Yeah, I tell you right, you guys would probably enjoy her more than me because she talks a lot faster. She talks a lot clearer because I talk slow, bumbling talk, but and she kind of reminds me of the female Ben Shapiro because she just and just keeps going. Like I said, when she takes a breath, I step in. I'll say something. It's usually, like I said, I'm the comedic relief and all this on that part. But it's we play like this verbal uh, dance. You got to figure out when you can just get that rhythm going where she's ready to stop for a second, then you jump in. Otherwise, you never get a word in edgewise. But yeah, so anyways, if you guys are interested in that, if you've not seen enough of me, but Rumble, if any watch any podcasts on Rumble, they are nothing like YouTube. Yeah, it's KILLERCARL. That is the name of the show, but it is through the. Hang on, let me spell John Frederick's uh, last name correctly too. So let me go to my Rumble account. Okay, so it's the John Frederick's Media News Outlet or Network, sorry, but it's John obviously, and then FREDERICKS. I guess I could type that in chat. Would that be better, Stephanie? I can type that in there real quick. The Killer Carl is easy to remember. If you go on Rumble and you can type in Killer Carl, and all his stuff will pop up. But he is a part of the John Fredericks Media Network. All right, let me type that in. And John Fredericks is a friend of Donald Trump. He actually has Donald Trump's 2016 MAGA bus. Sorry, I'm a slow typer. But yeah, that's it right there. So, like I said, it's every other Saturday with them, and I'll let you know about the podcast. Matter of fact, the podcast is going to be named after me. Even my daughter even wanted it that way. So that'll be easy to find once it's up and going. Uh, Getting a podcast started on Rumble is a little bit harder than doing it on YouTube, and I get it. I know why, but there's a lot more to it. You can't just load up and click live and go. You got to have a special program in there because they do a lot of interaction action live with other people from all over the world. They get up on camera, and that's what kind of what we wanted to do instead of just having chat, which they have chat. Is I wanted a show where the live interaction, and I'm going to be able to do that one with this one too. So yeah, so going forward, anybody wants to get on here and have a camera talk, uh, let me know, and I'll try my best to get that figured out. Looks like you, looks like you're the one talking anymore, Stephanie. The rest of them must fell asleep on us. I was watching. I'm trying to think of the show. Oh, can't think of it off the top of my head. There's like a podcast. The guy's podcast is 6 hours long, and I was like, my God, why would you have a podcast 6 hours long? But saying that, between before and now, and what I did yesterday, I'm beyond that. Hey, Frank, still here. Good. I just figured you guys got quiet. Maybe it's because you've seen what me and Stephanie was doing there. But yeah, if you guys like, you can follow this John Fredericks. Uh, like I said, it's broadcasted over radio news too, but you can view them just like you can view Blaze TV, but they're also on the radio. You can view them on Rumble, and it's a conservative radio station. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've been offered to get on their program, uh, and they were going to bring the MAGA bus here, but the story kind of fizzled faster than they can get the bus here. So even they're like national news network. So if the story's not hot that day, they're not going to waste their time talking about it all the time. But they was supposed to bring it here, and then it never happened. Some other stuff happened that was hotter news than Springfield. But I've been invited to go meet with them. Yeah, Stephanie, his program starts I think at like 6 a.m. in the morning till 10 is his John Fredericks show, and then Carl he's a reoccurring guest on the radio show or Rumble show and whatever you want to say. Plus, he has his own program through them too on Saturday nights, and all the advertisement from that show goes straight to help with the needs of the people who are incarcerated from January 6th. Yeah, and have you guys seen the live broadcast that I did with the other two gentlemen on the Assholes Opinion show? It's called WTF Wednesdays, is what we're calling the show. If not, I would appreciate if you check them out. I mean, there's only so much time in a day and so many days in a week. You have to, especially if you're still working, you have to kind of pick and choose what's the most important thing for you to watch or listen to. Thanks, Stephanie. But yeah, it's kind of odd, and I don't know if it's the name of that channel or not. But like I have 720 subscribers on this channel, and I always try to promote that channel every time I'm on here. Even when I make a video, I try to promote it in my video, and it just don't seem to be resonating that I'm gonna be part of that channel, I guess. Yeah, Stephanie, it was our very first one. You know, we got to get used to working with each other. I tried my best not to, because when we're all from three different parts of the country, so when you're talking, and I guess you guys can hear it just fine, uh, but when I'm logged in with them and we're up, whenever I talk, it cancels out their speaker for me to hear them. So I'm thinking I'm canceling out their whole deal that you guys can't even hear them. And I didn't want to do that, so I kind of like didn't speak as much as I wanted to during that show because I didn't want to interrupt the jumping in because I thought I was cutting their mic out. So I asked them to come up with some kind of little signal like this, like I want to say something, and if they'll see it and they'll go ahead, Jimmy, or whatever. So it's a learning curve. Never thought I'd be a news commentary person. Definitely not a journalist, although I guess I could be, but we'll see what I am after this documentary. I could be a complete failure. Yeah, Frank. Yeah, true. Very true. But I didn't think about the title too much when they reached out to me, and I mean, like I've had plenty conversations with these guys off camera, and it just seems like you know, even though the title's a little off, uh, they they they're trying to be as you know as honest and as I mean, and even they still have their opinion sometimes a little stronger than mine, but you kind of want that. You want if you got three people doing it, you don't want all three people to be identical. So I'm kind of like the laid back, mellow one of the three, but it kind of like fits. I mean, I have great conversations with these guys off camera. So that's why I say I've had such good conversations with them, and they're telling me their goal of what they want to do, and what kind of information they want to put out there, and this, that, and the other. And I said, well, that all makes sense to me. I want to do that too. And at the time when I was talking to them, and I still believe it today, to me, it's more fun to have a group setting like that when you get three different types of people and we're trying to reach the same goal, which is to get good information out there. And we're still learning, they're still learning because they're like me, they retired from other jobs that have nothing to do with what we're doing now. One is a retired train engineer, and the other one is retired from the DoD, and I mean the DoD, Department of National Defense. So, you know, we have three different perspectives and personalities, but like I said, you may not can tell during the show because we're still trying. Like I said, I don't. It's trying to work that out of when to talk, when not to talk. Uh, we have great conversations, and they just seem like as genuine as people as I am. And I don't know how they come across, so I can't answer to that. But because I'm in the middle of the conversation, see that's a non-word in case y'all didn't know that. But when I'm in the middle of conversations with them, I guess I don't uh, see or hear in it the same way that you guys might see in it, just watching it, go down. So, but I'm willing to take y'all's perspective of what you think, and like I don't mind letting them know, hey, here's what because they. Let me step back and start this over. I let them know that I had a few people say they wasn't really comfortable with the title, so they literally took that to heart and they put out a little video explaining why the title is what it is, because they wanted anybody who was off about the title of the show to understand why how they come to that. So they were that mindful to want to put out an explanation so that you would want to come and watch the content and hopefully get past the title. So, I got to give them kudos for that. So, that's cool. Thank you there, Jason. Well, Frank, uh, about keeping this channel going, I do intend on that, but some things, you got to, to me, this channel here is personal. You know what I mean? Um, this is not no huge political think tank kind of thing here. It's just personal. And the structured, official news stuff that we want to talk about, that I want to talk about, I may have some personal thoughts that I will put on this channel, but I like keeping this live content like it is. And I plan on keeping this channel. So, yes, I do plan on keeping it. But like I plan on also making some structured videos and stuff to be for that channel. And like me and them had some conversations. And I said this just a minute ago. Everything I do on this channel is kind of in direct competition with what I do on that channel. So it's kind of weird to say these things here and then say the exact same thing there. It kind of doesn't work because if you've already watched it here, you wouldn't take the time to watch it there because you just watch me do it. Like I may do it 2-3 days before we actually get to doing the show on Wednesday there. So you gotta pick what's important, which is the message is important first. And I know y'all know that. But I want my message here to be more personal because I've talked about some personal stuff today, guys. I mean, most people don't talk about their rough upbringing, to where this is going to be out on the internet. Anybody can view this and think whatever of me, but I feel like I have, however it comes out or however I look in the public's eye, I'm not afraid or ashamed of the way I was brought up. So, I have no problem discuss. I'm an open book, to a detriment to being an open book. And I feel like a lot of people are not. A lot of people are reserved and kind of like hide a lot of stuff in their, deep down inside. And to me, you don't really know a person that way, And I feel like when I talk to somebody, they need to know me. You need to know, because if anything, you'll know where I stand. You won't have a question on what I think about something when we walk away from this. You know exactly where I'm coming from, exactly how I feel about something. So, I'm rambling off again. I'm sorry. Yeah, Frank, that's the balance. And that's what I say. I want to balance everything. I kind of don't want to say no to the things that are being offered to me right now, but I know I can't say yes to everything. So I started this channel right after all this started with the whole Springfield thing because I wanted to get away from this content from my car channel. So, and then I got approached by these guys shortly after. I mean, it was like shortly after. I'd already I only had one video out on this channel. And they said, hey, and it's kind of funny. I want to say, let's see how I can say this. This has been mentioned to me 2 different times. Once with the John Fredericks people, Carl, and again with these gentlemen on this other channel. They both said that they watched my video, one of my videos, explaining my town, explaining the problem here, and they felt like they knew me all their life. I don't know why that is. I don't know how I can come across over a video that way, but both groups of people felt like they wanted to do some kind of project with me. So, and I felt humbled about that. And I okay, well, let's talk about this. If I can do it, I don't get too many people giving me these kind of praises. I want to try to do my best and see where it goes. Yeah, Jason, you're right, and I don't mean on the same. I know we're all on the same level, and I don't know quite how to explain what I mean from your statement there, but yeah, I mean we all are at the same level, but some people are a little bit more articulate and more engaging, and people, you know how when you hear certain people talk or whatever, and you think you walk away from that interaction, like if they're like a good speaker, like I'll give you an example. First time I heard Jordan Peterson talk, I was completely blown away and impressed, and I wish I was half the communicator that gentleman is. But I kind of wish I was more like that. But and I'm trying to get to the point to where I want somebody to, when they walk away, it's like, okay, I got what they were saying. I communicated it well enough that you got it. Yeah, Frank, I've heard that a lot. I think I come off as being sincere is because I am. Um, I I mean I don't know how to see. I get stuck on things because I wish I had some kind of clever thing to say about all that, but I don't. I am sincere. I am unscripted. Uh, I don't have a super large vocabulary, and I have a short memory span sometimes, and because that's how I get off on these ramblings from one thing to another. You guys got to keep me focused, keep me on subject. But and sometimes words escape me. You know how if you, these people that they talk about the teleprompter and all this other stuff. No teleprompter here, so when a word escapes me, it's escaped me, and then later on, I'll be thinking about what we're talking about now, and I'll think of the word that I wanted to think about right now, and I say, why didn't I think about that then? Why could I not remember that word to use? Because that's the correct word to use, but I don't. Yeah, Janet, that's what I want to do is keep it interesting. Um, because if you lose interest, then it's kind of my fault if you lose interest because then I'm not interested enough for you to stick around long enough to hear what I have to say if it's something important. I would hope it's important. Yeah, and I am. I'm just me. I mean, it's obvious. You guys probably know who's watched, I don't know, a dozen or so of my videos now where I talk. I'm pretty sure I'm the same person from that first video till now. Um, I don't know how to be any other way. I mean, it's like I'm impressed with these people who can do the fake nice. Because I just mentioned that where I went up to the Republican Party office here in town to throw my hat in the ring to want to do something in the local political field, and they just kind of fake nice me until I walked out the door. And I've said this before, I still ain't heard from them. So I kind of got online and filled out the official form today to run for precinct captain here in my neighborhood, in my area. You doing great, Stephanie, honestly. Yeah, and that's what makes this. We're down to four. If you guys are tired, I mean, we can kill it till next Friday, unless you're gonna watch Saturday and Wednesday. My dog's whining. Sorry. Um, I've always been the one not afraid. I've always had the confidence, I guess, to have conversations in a group form to where I'm usually the one that's steering the conversation. but it's still a little different. Like if I was in front of a group of 100 people standing up on the stage, I've had to conduct those kind of company meetings before, and honestly, I've always like wrote down notes and things, talking points, and I pretty much can never go off reading the talking points. I have to make it so much in my head that it's obsessive almost, because I can't read off a piece of paper or something to try to tell somebody something and it make it sound like a lifeless speaking, just reading something off of a page. I don't like doing that. I like to uh, do some, add a little kick to it. You know what I mean? Just make it to where it's just free flowing. I know my shit. Here's what we're talking about. Here's where we're going. Here's what the goal is. This is what I want to see us do for the next 6 months. Blah blah blah. Those kind of meetings when I used to have a job. Yeah, improv is what this is. But that's what I'm saying. I would have a hard time improvising in front of 100 people, but I have had plenty of structured meetings to where I had what we were going to talk about completely memorized in my head, and plus it's usually, I was in the trucking business as a mechanic, and then as a boss, I knew my job, and I and talking in front of a whole bunch of people who know the same job as I know, so it's like talking to everybody, like a little think tank kind of group. But to talk to strangers, people I don't know that I'm trying to convince to do something, like if I was trying to sell you a product, I'm not sure I'm the best salesman. But if you ask me an opinion, what I think about the product, and I know, then I don't have no problem giving that uh, to you in an honest fashion. So that's kind of how this whole situation is. It's just honest reactions and stuff. So we'll keep doing it, and hopefully it will be uh, better topics than just Springfield, Ohio. Although this is a serious topic because with the situation in this country, we are at DEFCON 5. I don't know if y'all agree with me on that, but I think we are at DEFCON 5 right now. I think action has to be happening real soon. I don't think we can go another 4 years and not turn things around. You say that, Frank, but here's the thing. If it's all worse than we all think it's worse than we think. So we know it is worse than we think. It's just that it's so bad we can't think that bad. You know what I mean? It's like it's uncomfortable to us. It's like, how is that even possible that they're willing to do that to us in this country? Because if the government is willing to do this to us, then I have no more loyalty to our government. And I'm willing to put up whatever it takes because I'm doing it for the people who did it before me, who no longer is here and would probably turn over in their grave if they seen what's going on right now, and would never have thought when they laid their life down for this country that it would be in a position that it's in. So it's, it's not just one person doing it. It takes everybody to do it. And unfortunately, we're probably not going to come out of this unscathed. There's going to be some casualties. It's a sad thing to say, but I believe that wholeheartedly, that it's going to have some casualties in the worst way. And it may not be large in number, but it's going to be something that will be remembered for a very, very long time. And I mean, what else can I say on that? As Aaron Lewis says, I can't be the only one. But. Hell, I got 9 people in here. Now I know Stephanie, Frank, and Janice. They're all been real good. Some of y'all can chime in on the chat too. Yep, Frank. See, and I've said that before. This just didn't start. Everybody acts like it started with since Trump's been here. No, 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 no. It's only been such a hotbed mess. It's because of somebody like Trump that's stirring the pot. Otherwise, if it had been the same old candidates doing the same old, we'd have woke up one day and we'd not figure out what country we live in anymore. But it's been a huge awakening. And I mean, a huge awakening. And I said it before, it's like once you see it, you can't unsee it. So now that we see it, what are we going to do about it? And I don't think they're going to let him take office. I really don't. So what are we going to do about it? I know what I'm going to do about it. Whatever I need to. And that means everything that means. Because I said earlier, I ain't going to start nothing, but I ain't going to let them finish it either. Because it ain't going to end the way they think. Because we need to do this because, we're a lot of us are up in age. It ain't about us anymore. It's about my grandkids, my great grandchildren, and the children that they have. Because if we get through this, we're going to have to put in place something that keeps us from happening in the future. We're going to have to develop a way to add to what our founding fathers put together in the Constitution. We're going to have to add to that to make what's happening right now impossible to happen again. And I don't know what that's going to look like, but I'm sure there's a lot smarter people that's coming up trying to do the right thing now that will figure it out a whole lot better than me. But you know what I'm saying. Some of us, we can't just sit on the sidelines no more, and I did. Not necessarily in national news as much or national politics, but my local government, and I'm trying to fix that. You know how it is when you realize there's a problem. Finally, don't matter if you're coming late to the table with it. Once you realize there's a problem, shame on you if you don't try to fix the problem. So no matter when you realize there was a problem, that doesn't matter anymore. It's time to fix the problem. So that's all I got to say about that. What y'all think? It got quiet in here. There we go. I knew there's 10 people in here, but I thought I was alone or my internet done screwed up again. Yeah, it is true, and it does sound good, but talking it is the easy part. Um, Putting forth the effort to physically make it happen is going to be um, where you got to realize who's willing to put a little skin in the game and bleed. Uh, Not necessarily virtual bleed, but you know, take one for the team basically, so the ones behind them can get through the line. Because somebody's got to be up front, and usually the people up front don't make it to the end of the fight, but the ones behind them usually can succeed if the ones in front do their part. Sounds a little grim, but it's true. I gotta kind of I don't know how to navigate this on YouTube because I don't want to sound too militaristic. I think that's the right word I'm using. Uh, because I'm not trying to be like hateful or nothing. I'm just trying to be um, truthful and realistic because all that stuff's going to have to happen. I do believe so. Kind of put me in a kind of depressed me a little. I've depressed myself. You believe that? I put my own self in a little bit of depression. But it's time to get angry. You know, can't be the ones going, "Oh, look what they're doing to us." We can't help it. Look what they're doing to us. What can we do about it? Question is, what can you not do about it? You got to do something. We all got to do something. Yeah, Jason, that is a very popular quote lately. I've heard it from the left and the right, and more on the right side. Um, there's a lot of weak men in power, and back in the day, even years ago, I've been called a Neanderthal because of my archaic points of view. But I don't think I have archaic points of view. I think I have patriotic points of view. Uh, it just may sound archaic to the woke uh, people of today. So, if I'm archaic or Neanderthal type individual, I don't know. I don't think I am, but I have been accused of it. But saying that, guys, I'm really happy this worked out even with the internet glitch. Um, so what I'm going to do is, and I'll put a little video out. I'm going to try this again next Friday at 6:30, and we'll see how long it goes and see if more people show up or less people show up. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, Janice, I was going to say, I like the small group. Of course, I haven't had a large group, so I don't want to act like I had my chats were going so fast I couldn't read them. I don't ever want to say that, but I like the small group of having these types of conversations and feedback and suggestions. And I don't know about you guys. Like I said, I did this channel's for me. This is my therapy. Um, you know, I got some really bad hate from my videos on my car channel, and I just wanted to get that so far away from my car channel. It's unreal because that's not what that channel was about. So when I decided to make this one, I said, I'm just going to make this for me. And if they want to hate on me, hate on me. At least it'll isolate me from my other channel. And we'll just see how the future looks, where we go from here. Hopefully, we'll be laughing about this come January 7th or January 21st. And think, what was we worried about? Oh my gosh, we were worried about nothing. That would be a nice conversation to have. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I think when that time comes, if we still have internet, we're gonna. I'm gonna reach out and say, who's still with me? Did we make it through? But hopefully, it's the latter. It's the part where we were worried about nothing. Thanks, Janice, Frank, all you guys. I so appreciate it. Y'all being here, especially since the glitch with the internet thing. So um, I just want to say once again, thank you. And I will put out you'll see another video sometime during the early part of the week. Who we got here? Dina. I feel like I can't even say I'm voting for Trump without so much repeating what the woke news says. Um, the thing is with the woke news, I was going. I can. Here's the deal. Uh, can you hear me? My buds just died. I just had to kill them. Can you hear me? Okay. So yeah. So now I'm on my regular deal here. Sorry. Um, when they want to believe what the mainstream news has to say, what you need to do is you got to do a little research, and you got to because God love my daughter. She keeps that 3 ring binder around because she can pull it out and show you government documents, other links to go to. You can find everything that they're claiming. That they're just bringing out recycled news right now, and there's so many things you can find that can debunk what they're trying to say a lie. They're trying to bring out an old lie to make it a new truth. And y the thing is where we are always so much better than they are is we don't go in there guns ablazing, usually not knowing what we're talking about. And it's so hard at the top of your head to say, well, go to this website and look at this, or bring up this video that, and you're going to have a link to bring up that particular video. Otherwise, there's so many videos out there, you'll be in the ether trying to find all kinds of stuff to prove something to somebody. Usually try to save it on your phone so you can show, you got. I have so much stuff on my phone that if somebody wanted to debate me out here on the sidewalk, they'd walk away crying because I'll just pull it up on my phone. And I'm not everybody knows I'm not a good person with the internet or doing any of this. But I know when I find something, somebody will usually text me something, or I'll find it on YouTube or whatever. I will bookmark it, and or I will share it to myself in my email, and then I'll be able to bring that up and click right on that link and show somebody instantly. Watch this, listen to the whole damn thing. Don't just listen to a 15-second clip that they're trying to say that this is what he said, or there's anonymous sources. Whenever they say there's anonymous sources or someone close to the president or somebody like that, at that point, they are so full of shit. Because because that's the whole idea of journalism. Unless you have a source that you can fall back on and prove, you can't fact check an anonymous source. You can't fact check an unknown person close to the situation. So it is all bullshit. and you have to call them out on that when they say, "Well, look what you're saying." Well, try to explain it, but in all honesty, at this point in the game, you're not going to change nobody's mind who is hardcore Kamala Harris. You're wasting your time. But if they are really undecided at this point, and we're down to the wire now, so if they're undecided, uh, listen, and then okay, let's address these one thing at a time. First, let's address the let's say calling uh, soldiers losers and suckers. Never was said. They said they claimed they got one person that said they heard him say that, but they got five others that said he didn't say it. So how can you, the national news, say this one person's telling the truth? He did say that when there's four or five other people that were standing there too that said he ain't never said that. So you got to call them out on it, but you can't go with the whole ramblings of everything that he was supposedly said. It's kind of like when they bring up, and I don't want to get too gross, ladies. They're grabbing them by the cooch. He didn't say he grabs them by that. If you listen to the actual audio, they were talking about celebrities like rappers and movie stars and all this, how girls fall all over them in these clubs. And all Donald Trump said is they're so starstruck that they would even allow you to reach up their skirt and grab their, and they would be fine with it. That's all he was saying is celebrity has its perks. Not that he's a perv and he did it. If you gotta, you know what I mean? Do I make sense to you guys? They take so much crap out of context, and you can make anything sound horrible. It's kind of like the good people on both sides. If you listen to his statement there, if you listen to 60 seconds before and 60 seconds after, it becomes a completely different statement. It is stupid how and people who don't, or who are not free thinkers, is the best way to put it, if they're unwilling to at least allow you to show them uh, that information in its entirety, not a clip. And and let's go and I go back to the unknown sources or somebody close to. Well, you can't call that gospel. That's hearsay. So you'd have to tell them, well, they're just repeating hearsay. You can get hearsay from the neighbor down the street. You're not supposed to get hearsay from your national news. They're supposed to be telling you the truth. Well, they're not telling you the truth. And there's so many ways you can prove that it's not the truth. So you got to be prepared. That's all I can say. And then you got to break it down to which part are they claiming that they're believing that the national news is saying. And then you got to address that subject in its individual situation. Does that make sense? Sometimes I don't. Right. You have to track down the whole thing. And see, and that's the problem with the left. They're lazy. We're willing to go look because sometimes, they'll say something that Trump said. What? Did he say that? And, you know, they call us the cult, but I don't instantly believe, like if they said Trump said that he didn't. But I'm gonna go find out where he did say it, and if they can't tell you where he said it, now whose burden is it to prove? Theirs or yours? But if you usually do find the clip of where he said something, watch the whole thing. Watch it a few minutes before and a few minutes after is usually all it takes. And in the Charlottesville thing, it's 60 seconds before and 60 seconds after. If you add the 60 seconds in there, that's 120 seconds, and that changes that entire statement. It's crazy. Or how is that right? No, sorry, 180 seconds. I had my math wrong. So does that work for you, uh, Christina, you retracted your statement. Why? Did they leave? There you go. Oh, how come you retracted your statement? Did you say something else you didn't want us to see, or you didn't want the YouTube gods to see? All right, Stephanie. Yeah, I was getting ready to get off here too. I do my research, but some people still don't believe. Okay, that's my point. There's no hope for them. If you show them and their peanut brain still says, no, no matter what you just showed me, the news outlet said this. You can't help them. Don't waste your time. Cut them loose from the herd. They're a waste of space. Don't waste your breath. Don't waste your research effort. If they are that dunce, then you just cut them away from the herd and let them die off. They're going to die on their own. I don't know if that's helpful for you or not, but that's pretty much what you have to do. Are they these people that you talk to like that? You know some personally. I'm assuming you do. We all do. Are they feeling? Are they feeling the pain of what's getting ready to happen? Are they gonna drop down to their knees and look up at the sky and scream no? Because that's what happened last time. The thing is, this time we don't need to be concerned about the people who voted for Kamala Harris or Tampon Tim. We need to be concerned about our own government. Because if we all get out there and vote, and for those who haven't voted yet, Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. But it ain't your neighbor that voted for Kamala that you got to worry about. It's going to be our own government. And, who'd ever thought we'd be here that somebody has to make that statement and you know it to be true. So that's where we have to stick together. Uh, you wasn't here in the first part because this is a two-parter because the internet went out and I had to restart. Uh, when I first started this live stream tonight, I was discussing if you're not a prepper of the things that you need to. It's kind of hard in the last minute to start prepping, but there's things you need to have in your possession that will help you get through what could be some serious times. And I can't say that strong enough. We got some serious times coming because they're going to try to invoke the 14th Amendment, uh, Section 6 or something like that. And then in September 27th, they uh, put out a statement from the Department of Defense to first time in history to allow lethal force against a U.S. citizen that wants to have a uprising against the U.S. government. That's in black and white. That's DOD Amendment 1504.01, I think it is, or 54001.1, or I gotta look that up. Anyway, somebody probably has that looked up better than me, but it's something. It's a public record. I don't know if you. Now I'm glad you're commenting because this is what I like about my lives. Is I like to engage with a smaller group, have chats, have a back and forth. But I don't know if anybody's still in the chat room that can put the number of that DoD memorandum up about putting or allowing lethal force against a U.S. citizen for domestic uprising against the government. Yeah, and I don't know what your time zone is there where you're at, but uh, I'm gonna do this live again next Friday at 6:30. And I don't know if we've ever spoke before, and I don't think so. Do you know me from my other videos from my car channel, or did you find me on this channel? Or yeah, sometimes there you go, 5240.0. There you go. See, I had the numbers all backwards. That's why I need y'all's help. I don't know if I did mention this before on another podcast. I'm dyslexic. That's straight up honest truth there. Um, I have a hard time comprehending written word. As far as how I remember it in my head, I have to usually read a paragraph two or three times, and I've learned over the years I know how to skim read, and skim reading, believe it or not, works out for me better than trying to read word for word of something. And I comprehend it faster and better doing it that way. And back in the day when I was in school, they didn't know how to deal with dyslexia people, because I don't know if they just didn't know about it or if it wasn't a thing that much back then. But I mean, I was dyslexic, so I knew it was a thing. So hang on, puppy. So yeah, when you say you're starting to, Danny, you mean like the prep thing? Because I can give you a quick list that'll help you. I mean, you have to believe that things are going to be as serious as we think it might be. Because I've been prepping for a long for a long time. And did you? What time zone you in? Still there? Can you hear me, guys? Sorry. My buds went dead, and I'm back on the speaker. I'm making sure. My husband and I are going hunting, and we usually go without electricity and water. I mean, you don't want to do that. You got going without electricity is one thing. Got to keep your water. There you go. Katie's got it. Yep, that's that's the directive right there. You'll have to go and pull it up, and you can read the whole thing. It's kind of scary, and they just revised it to put that out the 27th of September. So, and now all of a sudden they're starting to bring back all the classics of every bad thing that they claim Trump has said, and they've lied that none of it was true. Every, Everything that Kamala mentioned in this recent town hall meeting with Anderson Cooper, every single one of them was already been a debunked lie, but yet she still said it, and he never fact checked her one time. We knew it. We all know it. They're just bringing out the oldies. They're recycling old information, and he never fact checked her. Now, if that was Trump saying something like that, they'd have fact checkers in his ear telling him 10 different things to fact check Trump on. Cards are stacked against us, people, but we got to be able to play the hand that's dealt, and hopefully, we got a hand that's better than theirs at the end. Guys, it's been great. I'm gonna get off here. Like I said, 6:30 next Friday. I'm gonna try to do a scheduled premiere thing on there, so it'll be up and running before I try to fumble on here to go live. And But I gotta get off here. My puppies need to go out, and she's not one to wait very long before she gets up in here and starts manipulating me, uh, getting all in the camera and shit. Texas, I found you in your car channel. Cool. My dad needs. Very nice. Have you commented on my car videos? Seems like I remember somebody else talking about their first car being a '65 Mustang. Cool. My memory ain't as bad as I thought it was. And I have to ask because I see so much lately because of all the different things I'm doing between the car channel, this channel, the podcast that I'm on, the asshole's opinion, that channel, and then now I'm dealing with uh, the John Fredericks Media Network and on Rumble, so I'm doing that now, and I'm working on making a new channel with my daughter on Rumble, so we can get down in the deep weeds about these political um, rabbit holes and stuff like that. So we can't do that on YouTube, but we can do that on Rumble. So that'll be coming, and plus I'm just now starting to get this coming up week to work on making a documentary about Springfield, Ohio. So I'm getting ready to start in on that project. But tomorrow I got to get up and go out to my garage, which is 5 miles down the road, and make some car content. Yeah, I like being prepared too. Because between food, having a way to have some kind of electricity, and always people tend to forget to keep cash on hand because there's a possibility that when the government is the person or people that you have to also. That's an hour behind me, so it's like 11:47 where you're at. Um, but when the government is the group of people that you are up against, they have all the cards as far as like that's why I say keep cash on hand because they could do something to keep credit card uh, machines or websites or however they do that from working. Um, keep a it's one thing to have a generator, but make sure you have enough gas to run that generator for more than a day or two. And make sure you have weapons and ammo. Make sure you have what I call a bug out bag and a vehicle that can get you somewhere fast. And it's all the things that everyone needs that whoever preps. See, like I have like 6 months worth of food stored. Not that I'll ever need that much, but I did that, and I tell you why we did that here because I'm all about because not everybody preps, but I wanted to be in the position where family members or some even neighbors, if they're without and we have it, and I kind of feel like whatever situation we're in is not going to last that long, or sometimes you don't have any idea, but you got a sense of something. Uh, if I'm capable, then like give a hand that way so other people can have food and what I can't give them my generator or nothing, but I surely can give them food and water. Yeah, it's reading where you hunt. Unfortunately, I'm not capable of climbing or getting walking up through the mountains or the woods or whatever. I'm just not capable of doing it no. But I can hunt from my front porch. But I live in the city, so there's nothing to hunt. I used to live when I lived out in the country. I used to hunt off my back porch all the time. Makes it nice when they walk right up to you. Good night, Janice. And I say this, I gotta get off here. I just want to say thank you, and for those who want to be back here, 6:30 next Friday, I'll be here. I'll do a pre-scheduled premiere on that, so I'll be a little bit more prepared. And saying that, this is Jimmy Pockets, aka James Empty Pockets Garage. Until next time, I'm out of here.